So you've got your motorcycle license, you got your bike all picked out, you've even gone through all the trouble to search the different websites and find just that right gear that matches your motorcycle and your riding styles and everything you need. And you, my friend, are looking pretty damn cool. Now it's time to get out there and do some riding and look cool while doing it. Unfortunately, during your first year of riding, you're going to find yourself in a few embarrassing situations. And I guess that's just par for the course. But stick around, and I'm going to talk about a few of the things that I myself have been through while I was out here learning how to ride. Roll the intro. How's it going, everybody? Once again, thank you for stopping by the channel. Check out my videos. I really appreciate it. Today we're a little bit farther north than where I usually start my moto vlogs from. Why is that? Well, I don't know if you can see that up there, but we have quite the stiff wind coming from the north blowing to the south. And I've been trying to make this video all morning, and unfortunately the way that the wind's been blowing all morning has been creating a whole lot of noise in my helmet. So what I've done is I've ridden, I don't know how many miles north, but I'm in this little town called Natchez, which is north of my house, and I can get back to my house by taking little backcountry roads. So I've ridden all the way up here in hopes of starting my vlog in this town, and I'm going to ride back south with the direction of the wind. Just so I can try and keep the wind noise as low as possible. You see the things we do for you guys. This YouTubing thing is kind of hard. Anyways, today's topic, if I can ever get going here, can't see around that big Escalade. The topic of today's video is, I guess you can say, the embarrassing things that you can expect to do while you're first learning to ride a motorcycle, especially within the first year. These are all things that I have done myself, so I'm not, just making fun of you guys, because I've been there myself. But don't worry, these are things that will kind of happen less and less frequently the more you get to riding. Riding starts to become more natural to you, and you don't have to worry about doing most of these things on my list. Once again, we're not going to put them in order from number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or anything else like that. I'm just gonna start talking to you about it. Okay, so let's go. Might want to turn off my blinker though. That's something you still do. I don't care how long you've been riding. That happens a lot within your first year, but that right there, you ride around with your damn blinker on all the time because you're so used to driving cars. The blinkers just cancel themselves out and you're good to go. But on a motorcycle, you always have to remember to turn your turn signal off, and I do that all the time, right around with my damn blinker on. One of these days it's probably going to cause me to get into an accident. Somebody's going to turn in front of me thinking that I was turning myself, and I'm going to end up T-boning somebody. I hope it doesn't happen, but if it does happen, it's going to be completely my fault, and I will 100% admit it. So that's one of the things that you'll end up doing when you first start riding. Did I make a wrong turn? I hope not. Nope, I'm on the right road. Okay, the next thing is going to happen, and this one is no fun. It's a thing called target fixation. Now, if you don't know what target fixation is, then I recommend you look that up on YouTube. I have a video myself that I made talking about target fixation and counter steering and everything. So if you want to go check out my videos, it's in the playlist. I don't know which one it's in. Just look at my channel and go check it out. And since I want to kind of ride casually, I'm going to pull over here and let this dude in this truck go around me. So anyways, target fixation is a thing that happens basically when you're riding, and since you have so many things going on in your mind all at once, here's just basically, this is what target fixation is. If you're going around a corner and you stare at that lamppost, you're going to go to that lamppost. You're going to go to that sign, you're going to go to the ditch. It just happens. I've had a couple of instances of those target fixations happen myself, but luckily I've watched enough videos on YouTube and I've practiced counter steering enough that I've kind of trained myself to snap out of it when I have a target fixation situation. That rhymed, I think. But anyways, it's going to happen when you start riding. Do some research on it, practice your counter steering, and look up a lot of videos that can explain it. I've tried to explain it in my video, so if you want to go watch that, it's pretty basic because it's coming from the standpoint of somebody who is a beginner themselves, like me. So I tried to put it into words that are very easy to understand. Oh, that's a nice place. But I do recommend going and looking at other videos and things that, you know, from experts that know what they're talking about, unlike me. So another thing that's going to happen when you first start riding bikes is you're going to drop your bike. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, it means you're going to drop your bike. It doesn't mean you're necessarily going to crash your bike, because that's crashing. It means you're going to drop it. I have dropped my bikes. I've dropped one of my bikes twice and my other bike once. I dropped my Kawasaki Vulcan in the garage, and the first time I dropped a bike, it just happened to be this old 1982 Honda CB650 that I picked up that I was going to turn into a cafe racer, but ended up ditching. I got it back to my house and it wasn't there but 5 minutes. I ended up dropping the damn thing because the kickstand failed out from underneath it. So no big deal, didn't care about that. But you're going to end up dropping your bike. It's probably going to happen either when you're pushing it around in your driveway or in your garage and you're going to forget to put the kickstand down, or you're going to be in a parking lot where you're trying to maneuver in and around cars and other motorcycles and things like that, and because when you first start riding you're just not going to be all that good at low speed maneuvers, you're going to end up, I don't know, hitting the front brakes or something when you're in a turn in a parking lot, and the bike's just going to come out from underneath you and you'll end up dropping it. Hopefully you'll end up dropping your bike when nobody else is around, like what I did. That's the best way to hope for it to happen. But it's probably going to happen, so just accept that. So hopefully, when your first brand new motorcycle isn't some $30,000 full dress Harley and you end up doing $18,000 worth of damage on it when you drop it. So you can refer to my other video when I suggest your first motorcycle to get something small, lightweight, and cheap. Once you've been riding for a long time, the odds of you dropping your motorcycle shrink, getting far less and far less and far less. So if you're going to drop a motorcycle, I don't know, go over to your buddy's house and sit on his bike and drop it. Just get it out of the way. I'm kidding, obviously. You don't want to drop somebody else's motorcycle. That's another thing I'm going to suggest. If you're a new rider, even if you've been riding for 6-8 months to a year and you got a bunch of miles under your belt and stuff, and you feel the temptation to go down and ride a motorcycle at the dealership, like take a test drive of something that's completely different than what you're used to riding, you might want to reconsider that, because a lot of bikes, the way that their weight is balanced is a lot different than what you might be used to. So just have some caution, take it easy if you're going to ride other motorcycles, and especially don't ride somebody else's motorcycle if you're still new at this, because the last thing you want to do is be the guy that dropped your friend's motorcycle. Well, it's some beautiful country out here, isn't it? Gotta feel truly blessed to live in such a beautiful country. Some people take this stuff for granted, but it's a nice thing about riding a slow motorcycle is you really get to kind of just take it all in. Another thing that's going to happen several times in your first year of riding is you're going to have a bunch of close calls. And what I mean by close calls, you're going to, probably have to emergency brake, emergency swerve, dodge this, dodge that. It's going to happen. People are going to end up pulling out in front of you. People are going to, cross 2 lanes of traffic to get in front of you, or they're going to try to merge in front of you, or you know, because motorcycles are hard to see. And you can't always blame the driver of a car for every single close call you have. Now, after you've been riding for a long time and hopefully studying a lot, that's something I want to really kind of, you know, put to the point, kind of push on everybody watching this video, is study a lot. If you're just sitting around watching TV, turn the damn TV off and get on YouTube and study. But you're going to have a lot of close calls. Don't always blame the driver of the other vehicle. Now, as a motorcyclist, you have the responsibility to not only try to be seen while you're out riding around, but you have the responsibility to avoid situations where you're having close calls. So you need to really kind of develop your rider sense, and you need to anticipate what other vehicles are doing around you. The time for relaxing on a motorcycle is times like this. You're still paying attention, but this is a Sunday afternoon and I'm miles out here in the country just kind of taking it easy. This is when motorcycling is nice and relaxing, and you can kind of let your guard down just a little bit, not completely. So study a lot and try not to put yourself into situations where you're having a lot of close calls, but just understand when you first start riding, you're gonna have quite a few of them. And that's not your fault. You're not stupid. It's not because, you know, it's basically because you just don't know any better. Avoiding close calls takes a certain kind of skill that you learn as you ride more and more. You'll be able to predict what cars are doing. You'll be able to read their body language. Yes, cars have body language because of whatever the driver's doing on the inside is making the car do that. So as time goes on and you get better at riding and better at reading other vehicles, you'll have fewer and fewer close calls. And like I said, I've been through every single one of these things that I'm talking about. So, you know, don't be afraid to accept the fact that you're going to screw up when you first start riding. It happens to everybody. Nobody is good the first time they get on a motorcycle and ride on the streets. So I think the final thing that I want to talk about that's going to happen to you quite a bit when you first start riding, and it's probably the most embarrassing other than, you know, dropping your bike in front of people. This happens when you pull up to a stop sign or a stoplight and you forget to shift down into first before you get to the stop or before you take off from the stop. So you say the light turns green or it's your turn to go, and you go to go and your bike is in like third gear and you stall it, and then you're sitting there because the way the motorcycle clutches work, they're not exactly easy to get all the way back down into first. You almost have to kind of start stomping down on the gear lever and then let the clutch out a little bit and pull it back in and stomp down again, and they're not easy to put back into first gear if you come to a complete stop in third gear, so, or even fourth gear. But it's going to happen to you, and that's going to be kind of embarrassing because you'll stall your bike at stoplights and people behind you are, you know, they're sitting there tapping themselves going, what the hell is this guy doing, and making fun of you and everything else like that because you're such a noob. It's happened to me probably 4 or 5 times. It just happens. That's why I recommend, you know, put a couple hundred miles, you know, 500 miles on your motorcycle in your neighborhood. You know, stay away from big traffic areas and things like that, just so you can kind of tune your instincts and make it so that, you know, riding is more natural to you. That way you can avoid making these dumbass mistakes out in public. Like me, yeah. And like a whole bunch of other people have done. Really, all these things, though, they're just, they're par for the course. They're part of the learning curve. Motorcycling has a big learning curve to it. But it's also, once you get to the point where you start to feel comfortable riding, because those first few months where you're riding, you're going to be more nervous than anything else. That is, if you have, you know, a respectable level of fear, which you should have. But once you get beyond all that nervousness and things start to become more natural to you, that's when you really start to appreciate how great riding a motorcycle can be. Rear brake only on gravel. This is rattlesnake country up here. Why am I stepping back here? Because it's the smell of sagebrush. I don't know if you guys know what sage smells like, but man, it's beautiful. Look at that river down there. I don't know if you can see it very well on the GoPro, but getting out of the house and coming to places like this, yeah, it's what you live for as a motorcyclist. This is what you live for as a person. And this is screwing up my view. You too. Thanks everybody for stopping by and watching my video again. Really appreciate it. I appreciate each and every one of you that stops by and watches my stuff. I honestly do. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification thing so you know when I upload videos. I try to do one a week. I'm a working man, that's about all I can manage. Everybody out there ride safe and have a good one. I'll catch you on the next video. There's a hawk up there.